Our Hidden Lives, The Everyday Diaries of a Forgotten Britain, 1945 to 1948. Introduced by Simon Garfield and read by Amanda Carlton, Moir Leslie, Geoffrey Perry, Joan Walker and Christopher Scott.
In 1936, the anthropologist Tom Harrison arrived back in England from the South Pacific, where he had been observing cannibals. Within weeks of his return, he had arrived at a startling realization. Remote tribes were all very interesting, but they were not more interesting than the inhabitants of Bolton, where Harrison lived. What was needed, he believed, was an anthropology of ourselves, a record of everyday people living regular lives. At about the same time, two other men were reaching similar conclusions. Charles Madge, a poet and journalist, and Humphrey Jennings, a documentary filmmaker, wrote a letter to the New Statesman describing their plans for a new type of scientific survey, one which would enable, for the first time, ordinary people to explain the detail of their days. The letter appeared in the same issue as the only published poem by Tom Harrison, and in this way the concept of mass observation was born. Notices appeared in newspapers and magazines asking for volunteers who would be willing to share their thoughts. More than 1,000 responded. Harrison's methods were distinct from those of Madge and Jennings. He employed a team of paid professional observers, journalists, social scientists, civil servants, to note down overheard conversations in pubs, factories, and holiday resorts. Madge and Jennings sent out questionnaires requiring ordered reactions to specific topics. What did they think of Chamberlain? Did they engage in any sporting activity? What were the advantages of having a royal family? New observers were presented with a simple task to get them in the swing. As a first test of your powers of observation, try the following. Write down in order, from left to right, all the objects on your mantelpiece, mentioning what is in the middle. By September 1939, the tone had changed. A crisis directive, printed in red ink, asked for specific reports on gas masks, masking windows, and bomb-proof shelters, and also this. Failing further directions being sent to you, would you keep a diary for the next few weeks, keeping political discussion at a minimum, concentrating on the details of your everyday life, your own reactions, and those of your family and others you meet? This was the first request for free-form monthly diaries, and about 500 people responded to the new challenge. They wrote from industrial centres, country towns and remote villages, completing their diaries after their work as secretaries, accountants, shop workers, scientists, school teachers, civil servants, housewives, and electricity board inspectors. In all, an estimated 1 million pages found their way to the mass observation headquarters at Grote's Buildings, Blackheath. Some people wrote 3 pages a month, some wrote 40. Some commented merely on the weather and their journey to work, but some kept highly compelling and detailed journals containing almost every joy and disappointment and quirk of their lives. After a few years, the founders of the project left for other work. New staff took over in an office in Bloomsbury. The diaries are now lovingly archived in cardboard boxes at the University of Sussex, where they are frequently examined by researchers concerned with the build-up and progression of the Second World War. Most diarists had stopped by 1945, but a few kept on writing as the country emerged to face momentous change. The passage from war to peace is told in the simplest, most personal terms, providing a singular window into the British temperament during one of the most under-examined periods of our recent history. This recording is an attempt to give a vivid portrait of how Britain coped with the decisions made in Whitehall and Washington, and to show how much and how little our lives and attitudes have changed. These 4 diarists are not a representative group. Because of their huge diversity, there can be no such thing. The diarists were self-selecting. They liked writing, they were usually nonconformists, and they just happened to have seen the original requests for mass observation for volunteers. But they do
Sample complete. Ready to continue?